The empty cup. A scholar visited a Zen master asking to learn about Zen. The master served tea, pouring until the cup overflowed. The scholar exclaimed, "It's full!" The master replied, "Like this cup, your mind is full of your own ideas. How can I teach you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" Is that so? A young woman accused Zen master Hakuin of fathering her child. When confronted, he simply said, "Is that so?" He accepted the child and cared for it. A year later, the woman admitted the real father. When the villagers apologized, Hakuin replied, "Is that so?" The sound of one hand. A young monk asked his master, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" The master remained silent. Days passed, and the monk still struggled with the question. One day, in meditation, he suddenly understood. Nothing exists. Yamaoka Teshu, a Zen student, visited the master Dokuon and proclaimed, "The mind, Buddha, and all beings are illusions. Nothing exists." Dokuon silently lit a pipe, then suddenly hit Yamaoka with a stick. Yamaoka reacted angrily. "If nothing exists," said Dokuon, "where does your anger come from?" Everyday life is the path. A monk asked, "What is the true path?" The master replied, "Everyday life." The monk asked, "Can it be studied?" The master said, "If you try to study it, it will elude you." The gates of paradise. A soldier asked the master, "Is there really a heaven and hell?" The master shouted, "You're a fool! You're not worthy of my teaching." Enraged, the soldier drew his sword. The master said calmly, "Here open the gates of hell." The soldier, realizing his anger, bowed. The master said, "And here open the gates of heaven." The stone mind. A monk asked, "How can I enter Zen?" The master replied, "Do you hear the sound of the stream?" The monk said, "Yes." The master said, "Enter there." The moon cannot be stolen. A thief broke into a Zen master's hut. Finding nothing to steal, the master offered him his robe. "You've traveled far," the master said. "Take this as a gift." The thief, puzzled, left. Later, under the moonlight, the master sighed. "I wish I could give him the moon." Everything is best. A monk asked, "What is the most amazing thing in the world?" The master replied, "Everything is best." The bamboo and the oak. A monk asked, "Why does the bamboo bend in the wind while the oak breaks?" The master replied, "The bamboo knows when to yield." The dead man's answer. A student asked, "Why did Bodhidharma come from the west?" The master replied, "Bring me the corpse." Confused, the student left. When he returned, the master asked, "Where is the corpse?" The student said, "It's alive." The master smiled. "Then you understand." Selling wisdom. A wandering monk sold trinkets at a market, claiming each had great wisdom. When someone asked for the wisdom, the monk handed them an ordinary stone and said, "Look deeply, and you will find your answer." What is Buddha? A monk asked, "What is Buddha?" The master replied, "The mind is Buddha." Years later, the monk asked another master the same question. He replied, "No mind, no Buddha." The true nature. A cat and a dog sat by a Zen master. The master asked, "Which one has Buddha nature?" A monk replied, "Both do." The master said, "Neither does." Another monk said, "Only the cat." The master smiled, "You must find the answer within." One finger Zen. A boy studied Zen with his master, who often raised one finger to explain Zen. When asked about Zen, the boy would also raise a finger. One day, the master cut off the boy's finger. The boy screamed, and the master raised his finger. The boy suddenly understood Zen. The empty gate. A monk stood before a great gate and asked the master, "What is this gate?" The master replied, "It is empty." The monk asked, "How can I enter?" The master said, "Step through with your empty self." The wooden sword. A young warrior asked his master how to achieve mastery. The master handed him a wooden sword and said, "Train with this until it becomes part of you." Years later, the student returned with unmatched skill. The master said, "Now, forget the sword." The laughing Buddha. A monk meditated on sorrow. One day, he saw an old man laughing under a tree. The monk asked, "Why do you laugh in a world of suffering?" The old man replied, "When you understand suffering, you'll laugh too." The finger. Pointing to the moon, a master said, "Do not mistake the finger pointing to the moon for the moon itself." A student asked, "How do I see the moon?" The master replied, "Stop looking at the finger." Three days without food. A monk asked, "How should one practice Zen?" The master said, "Eat when you are hungry, sleep when you are tired." The monk replied, "Isn't that what everyone does?" The master said, "Not quite. Most people don't eat when they eat or sleep when they sleep." The true mirror. A master handed his student a mirror and said, "Look into this to find your true self." The student gazed and saw only their reflection. The master said, "Now break it and see who you are without reflection." The boat is empty. A monk was meditating in a boat when another boat bumped into him. He grew angry until he saw the other boat was empty, drifting with the current. He realized his anger came from within, not from the boat. The master's shout. A student asked, "What is enlightenment?" The master shouted, "Katsu!" The student was startled, and in that moment of shock, gained insight. Carrying the woman. Two monks encountered a woman unable to cross a muddy road. One monk carried her across and continued walking. Hours later, the other monk said, "We're not supposed to touch women." The first monk replied, "I left her back at the road. Are you still carrying her?"